This is why you can't let go after a breakup. You might think that you are stuck and that you can't stop thinking about your ex, but you're not. What's going on, fellow explorer? My name is Dave, and I help people who think that they should be over their ex by now, but still feel like there is something that is gripping them and keeping them there. And they come to me because when they figure out that they've had enough frustration and enough of this kind of looping logical mind of theirs that is saying that they need to move on, and yet they continually find themselves losing focus at work or not being able to stay present with their friends. My work helps them get out of that loop fast. And today I want to clear up what's actually going on in these situations and how you can actually let go after a breakup. So the first part is that the part of you that understands what happened in the breakup isn't the part of you that needs help. You already know that it's over. Your logical mind, your thinking brain already knows that it's over. And anyone can see that, right? You can explain it clearly. You probably have many, many times, right? To friends who will listen to you, and then you kind of see these looks of confusion on their face because it seems like you know what's going on, and yet for whatever reason, your heart or your system isn't getting that message. And the reason for that is because your body is overwhelmed. After the breakup, this can be a traumatic event, so oftentimes you are in fight, flight, or freeze, and you might not even realize it. So every time you start looping on your thoughts, going over and over and over again, it's not actually the thinking that's the problem. It's that your body, your system, is feeling unsafe. And when your body feels like it is unsafe, it does not care how logical or well-reasoned your explanations are for what happened. And it holds on because of the fact that your body thinks that when it lets go, then you're going to be in danger. So if what I'm saying to you right now is resonating, or you find yourself in a similar situation, this is the type of work that I love to do. So I would invite you to check the information below this video where you can find some links on how we can work on this deeper together. The second thing is that you might not actually be holding on to your ex. What you might be trying to hold on to is the version of you that existed in that relationship with them. And so many of the people that I work with, they say that they miss their partner. And a lot of times this is true, but when we actually dig, it can become much more complicated, right? And so what they are actually missing can be the routine. It can be the predictability. It can be the familiar way that you felt while you were with them. And so when you start to dig into this and when you start to look at it and unpack it and look at it a little bit more clearly, you might notice that it's not actually your ex-partner that you're missing. It's a version of you that you're missing, or at least the version of you that made sense inside of that relationship. A version of you that you got comfortable with, a version of you that you can recognize without effort. And when you lose that, that can feel extremely disorienting. And it doesn't matter, right? Again, it doesn't matter about your logical mind. Even if your brain knows that the relationship is over and that it wasn't good for you, this part of you that you are missing is still very, very valid, and it's still so, it feels so disorienting because it was so recent. And so it takes a little bit of work to move out of that desiring of that version of you that existed in the relationship into this new version of you. And the third thing I want to share with you on why you can't let go after a breakup is that this identity that you lost is something that you built. And this always feels a bit delicate to explain because I never want to feel like I'm minimizing the loss, but an identity feels permanent, right? It feels like a fact. And the amount of effort, the amount of time, the amount of trust, the amount of vulnerability that you put into this, when suddenly it's taken away, there's this desire to keep and like have something to show for all of this work that you built. But if you take a look back at your own life, I have no doubt that you have shifted identities many, many times, and probably many of those times without actually realizing it or noticing it. You stepped into a new career. You had multiple partnerships in your life. You have many times when you took on new responsibilities or evolved existing responsibilities into something bigger. And half of the time, my guess is that when these new identities started being built, you probably didn't feel ready. Most of the time, we never feel ready, and what happens is that we actually grow into these new identities over time. And so perhaps this is one of the big pieces that many people that I work with miss and forget after a breakup, right? Because you're so discombobulated, because your nervous system is in a state of, again, fight, flight, or freeze, there isn't a lot of space to do a lot of reflection and realize that you have created identity before, many, many different ones. And so because it is true that you have created identities in the past, it's possible for you to create another one now as you move forward. And it, again, just probably doesn't feel possible right now because the ground that you're on feels so unstable with everything going on, with the relationship ending, and you trying to figure out what to do now, right? And so it might take a few tries before things start to feel solid again, and that is completely normal. And many times, a lot of the people that I work with, right, before we start working together, they underestimate how long it actually takes for their system, for their nervous system, to catch up to what their brain already knows. And one of the reasons for this is because many of them are using poor strategies to do this work. One of the huge strategies that I see is that people think like, oh, I will just wait for time to heal all of my wounds. And while they are waiting for time to heal their wounds, they are oftentimes using extremely clever distractions to avoid being with the things that this breakup is turning up. Right? They throw themselves into work, they throw themselves back into dating too soon, they start taking on new hobbies, and they are just doing everything that they can so that they don't have to think about it, so that time can do the magical healing, instead of what I recommend, which is being intentional about the work that you are doing to move on through this breakup. And finally, the fourth thing that I want to share with you around why you can't move on from this breakup is that your nervous system, your body, is not going to relax until it feels safe enough to let go, until you are able to do the work to help your body feel like, oh, actually letting go is safe, is okay. Because right now, it feels so unsafe. It feels like it's in danger at the thought of letting go, at the thought of moving on from this person. So this is the part that explains why nothing you tell yourself seems to work. Right? Because if you are in a space of unsafety, of feeling like you're in danger, again, this logical mind isn't going to have any effect on the body. And so if your system is feeling alarmed, it's going to pull you back into intrusive thoughts, into panic, or those what-if spirals are going to show up again and again. You're going to find yourself drifting off and replaying old conversations when you should be focused at work, when you should be present with friends. And I've noticed that the fastest way to soften this grip, right, when the looping thoughts hit over and over again, is to ground yourself in something that's real and immediate. Right? So one of my favorite things to do when I feel these looping thoughts start to happen is to just pick an object in the room and look at it. The lamp, a cup, the pen or journal on your desk, anything. And you just want to focus on it long enough, right? Start to pick out the little details, see if you can find the intricate parts where things are textured or smooth or rough, or where the edge curves over. And just look at it long enough for your mind to register, I am here. This moment is real. I'm not in a memory. And you can do this with many senses, right? You can do it with the eyes looking. You can do it with your hands, with touch. What are you feeling? You can do it with smell. You can do it with auditory, what you hear. And you can even do it with taste, although there's not much, you might have to get creative and have a drink around or a piece of food, but you can use the sense of taste to also do this. And of course, this isn't going to fix everything, right? But it is a nice exercise to do to help create a bit of space to start working out this, what I call the felt muscle, the felt sense, and start getting your body on board. Start letting your body catch up to the fact that you are safe, you're not in danger, long enough for your system to settle and for your thinking to get out of these looping thoughts and back to the present moment so you can be focused or present with what is actually happening. And now there's another thing that I want to share with you that I think that you need to know before you try and move forward. You can calm your system, right? You can completely rebuild your identity. But if you don't understand the things that are pulling you back into obsession again and again, the triggers, everything that you heard today starts to fall apart. And so that's one of the things that I solve in one of my other videos, which is titled The Secret Behind Men Who Stop Obsessing Over Their Ex. And I will be able to put a link in this video here, so make sure you watch that next. And the last thing is that if anything in this video resonated with you, or you find yourself wanting to be intentional about your healing, right? You're tired of waiting for time to heal your wounds, and you want to take the quickest, most efficient path to moving on and getting over your ex in the healthiest way possible, this is the work that I love to do. So again, take a look in the description below, and there will be some links there for you to check out and to learn about, so we can figure out how we can work deeper on this together. So thank you for your attention. I know this is a tender time, but again, with intentional effort and work, you can move through this and come out better, not just get back to normal, but you can come out of this better than you've ever thought was possible. So I can't wait to talk with you more, and I will see you in the next video.